5 rebounds also, and in his 30 minutes was awesome. But see, the thing that he's starting to do more and more is just lead by example.
Yeah.
He's out on the floor. The Rockets had 30 assists tonight. And they had 30 assists because nobody was trying to be the hero.
Right.
Everybody just got their teammate, and if they had a good shot, they give somebody a better shot. This is how you end up with 40 points, with 140 points.
And you had 6 players in double figures. Sharing the ball, moving the ball, almost always leads to success, especially with this Rockets team.
You know, I was asked, who's the best shooter on the Rockets team? I know who's the best scorer. I don't know who the best shooter is because everybody's getting a chance to get their shots now. So it depends on what night it is and what team they're playing is the better shooter.
All right, well, we saw something extremely rare tonight. Not only did we see a flashy Amin Thompson dunk, but we saw Ime Udoka smiling several times. Let's go to the press conference and hear from Ime.
You did not see him smile.
Coach, throughout this winning streak, you all have had 30 or more assists in each game. What have you seen as more efficient from the offense?
Variety, less isolation, stagnant offense, more off-ball movement, and, touching the paint. Paint touches, we chart that, and the more the better. Leading to kickouts, leading to drop-offs, and then some part of it is obviously guys have to make shots, and guys have come back around a little bit there, and so unselfishness is great. But as impressive as that is, I think taking care of the ball. We had 10 tonight, 10 turnovers, only 3 in the second half. I think maybe a late shot clock violation. So a few single-digit turnover games and 10 tonight is obviously much better than what we've had in the past with 20+.
And you get ready to head out on your final road trip. How good was it to get some of your starters some rest tonight?
Always great. Trying to shave down those minutes as much as possible. In a game like tonight where, they don't have a lot of players, it could obviously look like Milwaukee or Memphis or Chicago, and we came out from the start, handled business, and it's impressive to score 140 and, 34, 35, 38, 33-point quarters, but I think as impressive as that is to play defense and not give up a 30-point quarter in a game like that. So you got 22, 28, 28, 28, and 106 only is great defense and great focus in a game like that.
To hold them for 5 for 27 from 3, is that a testament to coming out with the right, approach and, following the game plan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I go back to Washington game and Chicago game where they had some lesser shooters and we were just hoping they missed and kind of following them around, and we want to get away from that and, be aggressive regardless and make guys have to think about it at least, regardless if they're a high percentage shooter or not. And we did that tonight and did that lately since those games early on, and I think that's just got to be one of our mantras is be physical regardless, and just a non-shooter or not, and that'll be the result.
You referenced a streak of low turnover games. Is that something where you guys feel like you've turned the corner and it's sustainable going into the postseason?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, teams are still blitzing, going after Alperen, going after Kevin. I think we need to improve and continue to improve in that area, and a big part of that was not turning the ball over out of the traps. And when you get to the middle, our guys can kind of make plays there, and that's just the first piece of it. But in general, I think not playing in the crowd as much, and not taking that extra dribble or two, and just getting off the ball and letting the next guy make a play or getting a hockey assist for yourself. And so guys are doing that better. And like I said, once shots start to fall, guys start to trust it a little bit more and get off the ball.
Third quarter, they got it down to 14. What did you just like about that response to be able to basically double the lead from that point on?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big 3 from Reed, and then we got out and got another quick basket. Good to bounce back, and, we were up 23 at one point in that quarter. I think 19 and a half and 23 got up, so they shaved off 9 pretty quickly. Stay with it, stay focused. Like I said, our attention to detail is good, and limiting them to that 106 number is great in a game like this. That's really up and down, and so to bounce back and get it back to the mid-20s and 30s was great for us because we've seen it go both ways before, and kind of cut that off pretty quickly and got our focus back.
Shot 55% from the floor, I think 46% from 3. Does that go back to the assist that Sarge's talking about, just the way you are moving the ball?
Yeah, the extra passes are going to lead to wide open shots. Kevin and Alpy draw the crowd. I'm in when he's penetrating, and instead of forcing shots, Kevin can pretty much shoot over anybody anytime. Alpy can get to his spots, but they're reading the crowd. That's limiting the turnovers and finding the guys wide open. So we knew Utah was a team that loads up in the paint, and anytime they're in isolation or post up, they're coming after them. And keep it simple, get off the ball, and let other guys make the play.
Coach, what have you seen from my man as far as him? Sometimes he'll start out the game really aggressive, and then sometimes he'll lay back and let the game come to him. How have you seen his evolution and his growth this season?
Yeah, I mean, he's taking what's given to him. He's being aggressive when there's a lane there, and also understanding, they're going under some things, and not to force it, but to, use himself as off-ball actions as a screener as well. And so I think the balance is great. Pair him with Reed and some other guys in there. He doesn't have to handle as much and can do some other things. But, yeah, taking good progress this year, showed growth in that area, just recognizing when to be aggressive, when to get guys involved. And his numbers over the last, I'd say, 25 games have been high level.
Is bringing momentum into the playoffs, is that important? Or is that just its own entity once you get there?
No, it's huge. I think to play your best basketball.
Never does flashy dunks. Ever. You heard him in the post-game interview with me, Calvin. That's like one of the first flashy dunks. He said, I've been holding back.
But his teammates were wrong. They only gave him a 9 on it.
Yeah. They're going to keep it real. They're going to keep it real. But that athleticism is so fun to watch on a nightly basis, and it's been cool to see him in that starting lineup with Reed Shepherd because he's able to go back to being the 2 and be in that dunker spot.
Yeah, he's getting a chance to be him.
Yep.
The one thing I like about, and we talked about this before about facial expression, body language.
Yes.
Never changes. You don't know how he's feeling because he has one face, and that's game situation face.
Love it. All right, now let's take a look at the ever-important standings. We told you pregame the situation with Luka Doncic. Obviously, the Nuggets have had health issues. It is close. You see the Rockets currently 48-29. They are a game behind Denver. They're 2 games in the win column ahead of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, Calvin, it could get interesting as it always seems to do in the Western Conference. Take me through being a player. When you're at this point, are you watching the standings or do you have your blinders on and you just got to be playing your best basketball?
You're watching the standings.
Yeah.
You're watching the standings.
A lot of them say they don't.
Yeah, that's garbage.
I know that I'm always going to get honesty from Calvin.
They're watching the standings because in the playoffs, everything is about matchups.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get a team that you've been successful against during the regular season, if possible. So that's very important to them. Then they want to know, of course, who's injured, who's hurt, that type of situation. So that plays a lot in the pecking order.
It is tough to say. I mean, it's like I never want Jokic. But, the Lakers took it to the Rockets pretty good 2 times in a row. But if Doncic is injured, that certainly changes things. So
you know what? It's interesting. You're right. They did. But for some reason, I am not afraid of the Lakers.
Oh, yeah. I'm not.
If we play our game, we can beat the Lakers. We came here, and yes, they beat us back-to-back here in our home court, and that was embarrassing to the Rockets. Mm-hmm. And they still think about that. You have a team that scores a lot of points but play no defense. So you can't be afraid of teams that won't defend, especially going down the stretch.
When the Rockets play like they did tonight, and when they play the way that they have the last couple of games, 5-game winning streak in particular, I think they can beat anybody. So it's good for them to be clicking and connecting at this point in the season. All right, we got more to talk about on Rockets Post-Game, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Hey, Comets are coming back to town in case you didn't hear. We're ready for that. They got some banners.